Hey team, I'm Saksham. I'm a computer science engineer by qualification, graduating among the top 5% of my batch with a graduating CGPA of 9.27%. I started out as a backend engineer, and pretty early I realized I'm most excited when I'm not just building features, I'm also solving messy user problems behind them. And during that phase, I also found out a very core problem in engineering teams and their workflows, that was actual lack of source of truth or documentations that engineering teams can actually rely upon. And that's how I end up building my own product walkthrough. It was an AI B2B SaaS code to wiki tool, and in that I own the entire full 0 to 1 loop, talking to users, defining the MVP, writing PRDs, prioritizing trade-offs, and working on the engineering side as well. As well as I headed team of young engineers, and also managing stakeholders, like my advisors, teams, as well as clients. In that period, we like shipped the V1 of the product in just about 3 months and ran pilots with three teams across India, US, UK, with the 60 plus engineering team size. I also recently did the Next Leap's PM fellowship, where I worked end to end on a product case, driving adoption through research, metrics, and a PRD. Uh, I'm actually drawn to PM roles because I like building really amazing products with very high ownership environments. Uh, Now, coming on to the next question that you guys asked, that was why equity list. If I speak from my experience, I had a very hard time, issuing equity to my advisors, investors, as well as structuring ESOPs to give it to my employees. And also, coming from tech background, it was a super challenging to for me, or specifically, to understand these complex structures involved. That too, it becomes even more complex at different stages if you're like raising at different rounds, raising debt either convertible, non-convertible, or maybe issuing performance-based ESOPs. Or moreover, the professionals who claims to manage it for you are also very expensive to begin with at early stage startups. So I totally understand, I get the depth of the problem that you're trying to solve here. Now, if we just specifically talk about why equity list specifically, is because I think it is at very initial stage in the entire equity and fund management ecosystem. Currently, I think we are just focusing primarily on cap table management, and I agree that we are crushing in this segment. Uh, and we are, I think, specifically focusing on pre-IPO companies right now. But I totally believe that there's a huge market and potential to grow if we expand the product for post-IPO companies, as well as for fund managers or investors as well. Maybe like we can streamline fund disbursements, liquidity management, maybe work on something like employee buybacks, etc. So you know and that exactly what excites me about equity less, because I can see a clear growth trajectory here with you guys. uh, Now, coming on to the third question, that was why this role and how can I add value to this product, is because I applied because this role sits exactly at the intersection I enjoy, which is B2B SaaS, workflows, high ownership, as well as hands on execution. And from my last startup walkthrough also, I think I bring a few things that maps really well to equity list. First of all is workflow thinking. In a B2B, the real product is actually the workflow. Maybe it could be approvals, audit trails, edge cases, roles or permissions. And I'm used to designing these flows that work in real teams, and not just just demos or things like that. Second would be, I'm very good at making clarity out of ambiguity, because I have done the entire 0 to 1 phase where requirements are very ambiguous. I know how to convert these messy inputs into crisp requirements, milestones, and actual shipping plans. Third point would be engineering depth. Being a backend engineer myself, I'm very comfortable going deep with engineers. System design, API, schema. So I think I can unblock a lot of execution issues as well as catch issues early on in the entire engineering cycles. And the last point would be, customer closeness, because I have run a lot of pilots and feedback loops directly with the clients. I'm comfortable talking to founders, finance, HR guys, and then translating it into actual product changes. So yeah, so basically, if I have to sum up, I'm a PM who can sit in the customer call in the morning, write the spec in the noon, and sit with the engineers in the evening to ship the right thing as well. So yeah, that was about me. Now coming on to the last question, that was how do your ops slash process slash product skills fit automating equity workflows at a growing company? What does the tool stack look like? I believe for building any product as a PM, you follow certain structure to it. A very standard framework, like starting from understanding the market landscape, defining who our users are, translating business outcomes to product outcomes, building hypotheses, and then coming up to solution to solve it, and then translating it into different departments for execution and measuring the success out of it through metrics. I understand all those things, but I believe that building the right products are not that simple, depending on the company stage, the users, and the actual problem. So if I was a PM and equity list, I would not just follow a formal framework or something like that. And this is exactly how would I solve a problem to or build a feature at equity list. First would be I like to observe my users very deeply. For a specific problem, how are they currently solving it? What tools are they specifically using it to solve it? Basically understanding the duct tape solution that they have currently. Second would be then I would actually understand what inefficiency that there are in this particular solution on the entire user journey itself. Third, I would actually then come up with a solution or an MVP which actually solves it, and based on a hypothesis, define a metric which creates a benchmark for it. For example, using this tool, you can organize your ESOP structure by 40%. Using this MVP itself, you can organize your ESOP structure by 40% as compared to your current duct tape solution. And if that's something that we were able to achieve, then great. We'll go even deeper and try to build a solution out of it, which can take this figure up to maybe 80 or 90%. If not, we'll ask why and then reiterate over it till we achieve a basic benchmark number with this MVP solution. And because since we have users, we understand the workflows and the solutions, we can now build the final product which works similar to what they're already using, because it was inspired from the current workflows itself. So now adoption of the user will be very quick. uh, the user already agrees. Second, the user also already agrees that the MVP has generated value, because we set and achieved the initial benchmark with them. Hence, we solved the initial activation problem with the user as well. And finally, we have a potential paying customer who's ready and excited to use the final product when we'll be rolling out to them. So I think this will be the right approach to build any workflow solution if we have to start today. If I have to start today. Moreover, now summing up with the tool stack I use for data gathering and analytics, I have used SQL and Excel. In Excel, I've used like pivot tables, VLOOKUP, etc. And I've worked very briefly with Google Analytics and other web-related analytics tools. For designing, I'm well versed with Figma. I have used that very extensively. And for coding and prototyping, I'm well versed with the engineering side, a lot of frameworks at the engineering side, and a lot of languages like Python, JavaScript, backend frameworks like Node, Django, Flask, etc. I know all those things. For AI related tools, I'm very much skilled in LLMs and agentic frameworks like LangChain, Crew, etc. I built a lot of automations and workflows in that. Also, I understand all these concepts at the core of it, like the cost involved in that, accuracy, trade offs, and all that. How do you define guardrails and run AI evaluations for like correct outputs? I understand all those things very well. And for team execution and collaboration, finally, I have used Slack, Confluence, Jira, so I'm very well versed with that. So yeah, that was all about me. I hope you get a good idea about me, and I'm excited to chat with you guys. Bye bye.